As someone who's really into animals, nothing upsets me more than someone just shamelessly using their pet for content.
Oh hello, my name is Schnumbus and I'm just a lil guy. I like my lizard in doing a big trick. Wowzers, goo goo gaga, just a lil guy. Please like the video and subscribe. Every like is one little day of food for me. Please don't let me starve, woof woof.
Jokes aside, I do believe animal-based content can be done in a pretty healthy and ethical way. It feels like every month now there's a new weird cat getting like millions of views on social media, and that's fine, that's okay, probably. My main issue is when someone purchases an animal without doing the proper research, or just because it's a trend or to like fill a specific aesthetic. That's my issue. And unfortunately, basing a channel around animal content, especially when the animal tends to be more exotic or unusual looking, is probably the easiest way to get attention on social media, which then influences people to make similar purchasing decisions. This leads to things like dodgy breeding practices, it benefits the exotic animal trade, and again, it leads to people getting animals that they literally can't take care of. Now, one type of animal has become increasingly popular on platforms such as TikTok nowadays, and that animal is cows, specifically Scottish Highland cows. I myself have followed some accounts over the past couple years that are like farms based around these Scottish Highland cows. Thankfully, no matter how popular these animals get, realistically, people can't get a cow. Purchasing a cow for most people, completely out of the picture. It's kind of a general understanding that you can't have a cow in your house. It's too big, right? Right? But what if a cow was smaller?
It's 7 a.m. and I just woke up to the cutest alarm clock.
That's right, the best scientific minds in the world have come together and have made the mini micro cow. A cow so small, such a good size that you can keep it in your house, right? Well, let's look into this a little bit. I think what's most interesting about this story is that there's no such thing as a mini micro cow, but we'll get to that later in the video. So this is TheHuskyFam on YouTube and TikTok, and a couple of months ago they purchased this mini micro cow. It's so small, you gotta say it twice. Now, TheHuskyFam, as you would expect, started their content on content based around their huskies. And huskies are a pretty normal and relatable pet for most people, but their views have absolutely freaking exploded when they purchased this mini micro cow. And while this video is super freaking cute, the comments were pretty divided and a lot of people reacted in a very negative way. I'm gonna put these comments on the screen, you can pause and read them if you want. There's a couple of main points here. First thing is that cows are very social animals. A lot of these comments are suggesting that it is cruel to keep a cow by itself. It's worth noting that since these first couple of videos, they have gotten a second cow, but judging between the time between videos of when they got this first cow and when they got this second cow, it seemed to be about 3 months. That's just judging by the upload dates. A lot of people are saying that the calf mooing and the fact that it's still on milk suggests that it was taken away from its mother at too early of an age. A lot of people were saying that you only really take a calf away from its mother when it's off milk. Also, the fact that it's mooing isn't the calf calling for milk, it's calling for its mother.
Here and was definitely ready for her bottle.
Now, personally, I have no idea about this. I'm not a cow expert. I'm just reading these comments. We'll do a little bit of research. We'll do a little bit of research in a sec. There's also a lot of people saying that because this is a cow, it needs a big grassy field to live in. And that this suburban house probably doesn't have the required land for a cow. There was also some comments on the whole other side of things saying, well, you know, maybe this isn't the best living situation, but at least this cow isn't dead. Well, at least it's not on a farm where it would be killed and eaten, which, you know, like, yeah, that's true, but also, wouldn't it be good if there was a midway here, you know? Wouldn't it be good if there was a midway here? Wouldn't it be good if that instead of this or this, it just got to live the best life possible? With a pet, you typically would want, you know, what's best for it. Another thing that I saw a lot of comments take note of, as well as me, I took note of this when watching their content, is that the cows, the huskies, and the chickens, as well as all their furniture and stuff, fit this kind of muted color aesthetic, which, like, it isn't exactly problematic, but it is kind of a weird vibe. I don't know. For me, it kind of gives the vibes of that they're not really in it for the animal, they're in it for the aesthetic, which, you know, is probably completely wrong. But just having kind of a color aesthetic for your animals, it's a weird vibe. In saying that, I did color coordinate with my dog today. So that's a bit odd. So I got those, maybe I got weird vibes too. Now, it's worth noting that the TheHuskyFam actually went to a mini cow farm about a year prior to their purchase of their calf. So it seems like they've had about a year to think on this purchasing decision. So maybe in that time, they've done all the necessary research that one would need. I don't want to be jumping on them being like, you know, these people are bad. at the end of the day, they don't show much of their lives in these videos. I don't know the ins and outs of their lives, alright? I'm an outside perspective, and I'm getting all this from their videos. It's worth noting that with the Husky fam, the cow doesn't actually live in the house. Well, at least not anymore. It now lives in a barn they've constructed outside the house, and this barn has the most millennial vibes I've ever seen in my life. The chickens look like they live in an IKEA Kallax. Now, often when you're reading TikTok comments, there's also a lot of nonsense about animal care. So I took it upon myself to do my own research. And I did this through looking at various breeders of Scottish Highland cows and mini micro cows online, and I also found some really interesting information from actual farmers. So let's see if having a pet mini micro cow would be a good fit for you. Now, for starters, literally every single breeder that I saw said you need to purchase at least 2 of these cows at the same time, especially if you're getting a calf. Having them at a young age, it is super important that they are socialized with others of the same species. These breeders say at minimum they require the guarantee it will be integrated with an existing herd. So either you purchase 2 or you integrate them with an existing herd. Those are the options. Now, the specific reason that a cow needs to be around other cows, and we can compare this to something like a dog. They're both domestic animals, but they have very different needs. If you're a pet owner, you know how important it is to socialize your pet with humans or other animals from a young age. Now, a lot of domestic animals that we would have in the home, like dogs or cats, we're going to use dogs as the example, are predators. And they see us, humans as part of the pack. They've been domesticated to follow a hierarchy system. And humans are seen as a caregiver a lot of the time, and this is dependent on dog breed, but they exist within the household. Now, on the flip side of things with cows, now cows are domesticated like dogs, but when you see a domestic cow, they're surrounded by others of their own kind, and they're in a huge, massive field. The whole cow society is based around companionship. In a cow's natural life, they would be constantly surrounded by their own kind, every second of their lives. So when instead there's only humans, it's a whole different communication set going on. Different needs and like emotional spectrum here. And also, unlike dogs, cows are a prey animal. For dogs, social groups are based around finding food, but for cows, that's not needed. They eat grass. Their social structures aren't based around finding food, it's based around protection. A herd for a cow is like a house for you. A cow feels safe sleeping in a herd the same way you feel safe sleeping in your bed in a house. And that instinct doesn't go away. It's not like a cow understands the context of its current living situation. My dog doesn't like the sound of fireworks, but he's never been shot. So yes, a solitary cow is not only lonely, but it's incredibly stressed. Again, worth noting, the Husky fam has purchased a second cow. But the argument still remains that a lot of people believe that a herd of cows at minimum should be 5. I'm not a cow expert. You can make your own decision, but at least the cow has a friend. In terms of space for mini micro cows, I've seen a couple of different answers. I've seen it range from about 2 acres per head to 5 acres of grassy pastures. And then with that, you will also have to supplement their diet because realistically, that won't be enough grass for them. Now, we have no idea how much land the Husky fam has. They haven't shown off their property to the public, so maybe they have a huge acreage going on, maybe they haven't. I personally would be appreciative if we saw, more videos of these cows in a little field or something. I think, that's just cute anyway. Now, again, the most interesting thing that I have found out about the mini micro cows is that there's no such thing as a mini micro cow. They are still just Highland cows. The only real difference between these cows is about 6 inches. That's like the difference between me and you. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, wow, Todd, 6 inches is actually really big. That's a really big size. That's huge. 6 inches is huge. That's like that big. It's like that big. Really big. It's a really big size. That's huge. It's at least that big. There's a joke about fishing, guys. That was a fishing joke. So this is an example of a mini micro cow. It's literally bigger than any kind of dog. So what exactly is a mini micro cow? It's a cow that's been selectively bred for the smaller size. Highland cows are already one of the smallest, if not the smallest cow. I don't know, I'll put that on the screen, what's right. But because they've been bred for the smaller size, there's a lot of genetic defects that can manifest. And the craziest part to me is that because they're not an actual breeder cow, when you get one, there's no actual guarantee that your cow will be a mini micro cow, because sometimes the traits don't carry over and you end up with just a regular sized cow. You can't actually tell until they're about 3 years of age whether you ended up with a mini micro cow or a micro cow or a regular cow. You got no idea. It's about 3 years of age when they stop growing. So because of this, a lot of less ethical sellers do remove the calf from the mother too early to ensure that it will receive less nutrients. Or sometimes they take it from the mother too early to misrepresent the age of the calf so it appears smaller. Now, the existence of these mini micro cows may remind you of another animal that was marketed to people as being pretty small and then ended up not being so small. I'm talking about the mini pig, otherwise known as the Teacup Pig. Essentially, a bunch of celebrities bought these really tiny, really cute little pigs. It was very trendy, and it led to tons of people buying them. And at the time, what a lot of people didn't understand about these mini pigs, because how they were represented in social media, is that what they were seeing were the baby versions of the pigs, not the adult version, because they got so much bigger. And there was a lot of misleading marketing in the name. Teacup itself would imply, you know, that it's small. What it was actually referring to is that they're mini compared to a regular 6-foot-long, 700-pound pig. They weren't talking about mini in comparison to a cat. They weren't talking about guinea pigs. And the repercussions of this trend are still being felt to this day. Of course, I'm referring to Logan Paul's pig. If you missed all that and have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, because we're about to get into detail about how Logan Paul used to be one of the most critical offenders of buying animals for clout. That's right, we're taking a little pivot in this video to talk about the tragic history of a lot of Logan Paul's pets. Also, how poorly aged a lot of these videos are. So when Logan Paul started his social media career, he had a bird called Maverick. And Logan ended up basing his entire merch and his brand all around this bird, the Maverick symbol. In 2017, he bought Kong, a Pomeranian, off one of his fans in a video.
I need that in my life. Oh, what's he doing with that?
They just showed up with this little dog and he ended up buying it.
Any questions, hit me up.
Okay, but cool. I might have a lot since I'm young and dumb and inexperienced.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna be you one day. Our future is bright.
He had this little dog for about 2 years before it was killed in his backyard by coyotes. On surface level, this absolutely seems like a tragic accident that could happen to anyone, but by Logan Paul's own admission, coyotes had always been a problem in the neighborhood, and that he was aware that these specific coyotes had killed dogs in the neighborhood before.
We've heard reports of coyotes in the neighborhood. Neighbor Susie is always like texting us when the neighborhood gets an email about some sort of coyote watch. These motherfuckers are bad. They are aggressive. They've killed dogs in our neighborhood before, and one of the biggest coyotes I've ever seen in my life. And I'm from Ohio. Like I grew up around coyotes. I know what they look like. He's never really had any taste of danger. He doesn't have any predators here.
Now, a couple weeks after his dog's tragic death, he bought another dog named Broly.
I don't want to be one of those people that just like replaces a dog with another dog, but fuck, alright, I guess I am.
Oh my, bro. Oh my.
I don't want to be one of the guys that like their dog dies and you just replace him in a second. But I've been feeling lonely.
After a couple years, he would end up giving to one of his employees. Apparently, this employee bonded to this dog a lot more than Logan did. But more importantly, about a month after Kong's death, Logan Paul bought a Tibetan Mastiff. This dog's name is Ginger and was completely on the other end of the spectrum from Kong. If you're not aware of Tibetan Mastiffs, they're very expensive and they are guard dogs predominantly. Logan got this dog specifically because they were the type of dog that would attack and kill other animals.
Got eaten by a coyote, and something about that situation made me want to do two things. One, kill every coyote I see. And two, get more dogs and just make sure they grow up to live a full, healthy life.
He's actually pretty dope.
If there's one dog that could hunt and kill coyotes, it's that dog.
What if it eats Broly?
We actually didn't think of it.
What are the chances that one animal eats a dog of mine?
Well,
2 months later, Ginger ate Maverick. For some reason, they got Logan to live react to his bird dying, and his mate is just laughing the whole time. It's a really weird watch.
Maverick's dead.
The bird?
I have a bucket of his feathers here.
You're fucking with me, right?
I'm really not. I wish I
Bro,
was.
no, you.
Into a fucking grass grinder.
That's so fucked up, bro. Oh no! Supposed to kill coyotes. She's supposed to kill coyotes, not my pets!
And like, this whole thing is like post, Japan forest situation. You think he would be a little more, wary around the topic of death? Like, they find pieces of the bird's mutilated corpse and show it to Logan. For what end?
And then you'll see his other eyeball. This is his beak. This is his, I don't know, part of his body.
Why'd you show me that, you sick fuck?
It's sickening, kinda. Now, to be fair, with Kong's death and also Maverick's death, in neither of these situations was Logan Paul actually even there. In both these situations, his pets were under his friend's watch. But also, if you have animals, they shouldn't be in the kind of situation where this kind of thing can happen. It's not like he lived in a wild pet house where there's like 100 animals running amok. It's like 3 dudes. If you have animals, they shouldn't be in the kind of situation where they can get hurt in the first place. Like, this is an unsafe environment. He literally got Ginger because Ginger was a killer. I wouldn't trust a cat around a bird, let alone a dog of this size. And I feel like the way he talked about the situation, people deal with grief in their own ways, but for me, it felt very gross.
It's almost like bad things happen at one time. I don't know what it is, if it's like a universal, like, fuck you to me. I just can't believe, like, what the fuck? Why me? Life has been a bitch lately to me. First Kong, and now Maverick. The iconic Maverick parrot. The inspiration behind the Maverick brand. Maverick by Logan Paul all started because this one little fucking sun conure parrot. The pet that I've had for the longest time in my life, 7 years, at Maverick Parrot on Instagram, 1.3 million followers, 2.3 on the brand account.
The way he's talking about it here is like, oh, why has this happened to me? Mate, I think Maverick got worse than you did. He ended up sending Ginger to what he described as a bad dog school.
Not only is she a murderer, she's done about $10,000 in property damage. She is a bad dog. We sent her away to bad dog camp, and I haven't seen her in 4 months.
And in the video, he repeatedly describes Ginger as a bad dog, and he tries to make out like that this is an unusual, unstable dog. And it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth.
Look at that face, I can't believe it. Are you a good dog yet, Ginger? Are you a good dog yet? She looks nice, I really do love this animal. She's got Satan brewing inside her somewhere. You see how easy she flips the switch? Like, that's the part of her that terrifies me.
Again, in reality, what Ginger is a guard dog. When she flips out at people, that's her doing her job well. That's what she was bred for. She's a guard dog. So not only did every single person in his life tell him that getting this dog was a bad idea.
It's a bad idea, bro.
Wait, you don't support this?
In no way, shape, or form.
What do you think?
I think you're crazy.
And the guy who breeds and trains guard dogs explained exactly what a guard dog is like.
And they bark all night long, keeping away the coyotes or whatever.
That's amazing.
This is the dog that says, "Why don't you leave and just let me guard?" I got it.
And the dog trainer explaining to his face that the dog is not a bad dog.
Getting any better? Or is she just still a bad dog?
She's not gonna be good in the structure that you have her at home. That's all. She's not a bad dog.
The dude has the cognitive dissonance not to blame himself, not to blame his poor teaching or the environment he had the dog in. He just blames the dog. The environment he had her in is an environment that she wasn't bred for, she wasn't trained for, and he didn't train her otherwise.
She gets scared of noises, and she heard a noise yesterday. She ran through the music studio and got like caught in a cord or some shit. It was connected to a piano and dragged the piano through the yard.
That is your trained guard dog guarding your house. I'm glad the comments on the Ginger video see this too. I don't feel like a crazy person. Again, how this feels to me is that he picked this dog for aesthetic reasons and because he had this vendetta against the coyotes and he hoped they'd show up again. But if a coyote sees a dog of this size, it's never gonna show up.
Hey, I'm gonna figure this out, alright, Ginge? You're gonna be a good dog soon. Till then, I will see you later, okay? Okay.
He ended up never going back for Ginger. She now lives with someone who is completely unrelated to Logan Paul in, any sense of the word. If you notice so far, we haven't even gotten to the pig yet. In 2018, in this video, what's this video called? Logan's first daughter. That's gross, man. What a disgusting video. Yuck. Chlogan. In this video, Chlogan's first daughter, they adopt this teacup pig. So Logan Paul and his girlfriend Chloe Bennett go look at these mini pigs, which are raised in this suburban house.
They just grow the pigs in this
I don't know.
nice suburban house.
How do
over
they
here?
grow pigs in a suburban home?
Repeatedly over the course of this video, he compares pigs to dogs.
Exactly like dogs. Pigs! Pigs are the new dog!
As we talked about before, comparing anything to dogs it's not a good comparison. In the video, they say that getting this animal is a completely impulsive decision and they haven't thought it through at all.
Excitement of us doing stuff is on a whim.
Yeah, it's on a whim.
That's
It's
what we like.
fun to be spontaneous, you know? That's what
Where'd you get her?
Okay, I think we're getting it. Oh my god.
Pigs live like 20 years, so doing it like this, that's very irresponsible.
First daughter.
I know.
We have a little baby girl.
Also, they broke up less than a month later. No joke, literally less than 1 month. They got this pig in September, and they broke up in October.
I think it was a good idea. I don't know. We're literally, that's what we're gonna find out in the upcoming years and months. This is the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Logan Paul ended up keeping custody of Pearl, and then less than a year later, in July, he ended up buying another pig. Buying this pig was actually a good decision because Pearl was severely depressed.
Examining Pearl exhibiting what could be signs of chronic depression.
This is not good.
Bought this pig, Piggy Smalls, from the same breeder as he got Pearl. He's actually warned by this breeder that the pigs are going to attack each other when he introduces them. So typically when you introduce pigs to each other, or any animal for that reason, you would introduce them through a fence over the course of several weeks. Instead, they just chuck the pigs in with each other and they fight. It's awful. Now we're going to jump ahead into January of 2023, where Pearl was found abandoned in a field with a second deceased pig. She was taken in by an organization called the Gentle Barn. She was found in a really poor state. She had shredded ears. She had a severe uterine infection. It was all around terrible, and it was all over the internet. So it led people asking, what exactly has happened here, Logan Paul? In Logan Paul's statement about the issue, he claims that he rehomed her to an amazing ranch, and that after 10 months, the owners of said ranch rehomed her into a second home that mistreated her. So, much like every other situation regarding Logan Paul and animals, we see him here shifting the blame to someone else. So I would argue here, if you rehomed her responsibly, and then that guy you rehomed her to didn't rehome her responsibly, it kind of seems like maybe you didn't responsibly rehome her in the first place, you know? Now, typically, when rehoming an animal like this, often you would be paying like a monthly or yearly fee for the animal to be taken care of and looked after. You're paying for food and vet bills, etc., and they send you fun little updates on how your animal is doing. I know people who have had to do that. Logan Paul is a multi-millionaire. He can afford to ensure that a pig can live a happy life. Also, he claims that Pearl was transferred alone and that there was no second pig, which makes me wonder what happened to Piggy Smalls. Anyway, Pearl is now living her best life. She's got lots of friends and they give her music therapy. According to the website of Gentle Barn, she is fully integrated with the other pigs and she gets lots of popcorn and pumpkin parties, cookie balls, and belly rubs for the rest of her life. I sincerely hope that Logan has made a generous donation, considering his tweet where he said he would do whatever he could to aid in Pearl's care. Seems Logan Paul loves collecting interesting and unique and unusual animals and then abandoning them, which would explain his treatment of Cryptozoo. He also had an albino softshell turtle in a fish tank for many years. He returned that to the people who gave that to him when he moved to Puerto Rico. It now lives in some guy's pond. So, happy ending for Pancake. Now, I really don't think that the Husky fam will go down the same route as Logan Paul. I do see a situation where they have to get these cows rehomed, specifically if they end up not being the mini micro cows that they wanted. But because they are such like an animal-focused channel, and it does seem that they take really good care of the Huskies, I think if they went to get them rehomed, they would do it in a really responsible and ethical way. Compared to Logan Paul's kind of weird, manic kind of clout goblin style, I see the Husky fam as being a lot more reasonable if it ever came to rehome. And again, their videos are so short, it's really hard to tell what's going on in their lives. My main concern is the influence that these people have, and that people will just see, cute little cow videos, now I want a cow. It'd be a shame if this mini cow thing had the same kind of legs as this teacup pig, and then suddenly, you know, everyone's got cows that they can't take care of. Sorry I didn't post for a couple months there. Don't worry about it. We got a couple fun videos coming up in the next couple weeks, so if you haven't already, give us a subscribe. For every like this video gets, I'm going to adopt a mini giraffe and I'm going to keep it in my fridge.